extend your skills and your awareness of different terminologies or different time frames, different attack types. You've sort of just got to become all in cyber to really take it all in, because it is such a big field. You just want a broad knowledge of everything.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cyber Revolution podcast. Thanks for joining us yet again. I'm Adam Hewitt, the CEO of Cyber Revolution, and today I'm joined by a former student of ours, Tim Jensen. Tim, how you going?
Hi, good, thank you. How you doing, Adam?
Good, mate. Good. Thanks for coming on. This podcast is a long time in the making. We've been trying to get this one to work probably for about 6 months now.
Yes, I think so. Since the start of the year, so lots has happened. So good to finally be here.
Which is why we're having a chat with you. I know I wanted to get you on because not only have you just landed, not just, but you've landed a role in the industry. You've been busy moving cities, having potential opportunities. So it's a really interesting story. So thanks for taking the time out of your day, mate, to come on and have a chat. We're going to get into the details soon. Before we do, I want to give all of the new listeners a bit of an overview of who this podcast is for, who Cyber Revolution are. So we are Australia's only Cyber Revolution. We're Australia's only dedicated cybersecurity training and placement institute. We specialize in finding people their first job in cybersecurity. And so if you're listening to this podcast for the first time, who this is for is somebody who is intrigued by this industry. They're probably seeing more and more about it on the news, attacks occurring each and every day, and they're interested to know how they can potentially transition into cybersecurity for the first time, just like Tim has done. What skills you need to learn, what roles are available, what even is cybersecurity. It is a bit of a mysterious industry. So that is the point of this podcast, is to educate people who are interested in it and want to land their first job in cybersecurity. So if that sounds interesting, if that resonates, this could be the podcast for you. Okay, Tim, let's get into it, mate.
Perfect.
I want to start from the very beginning. So let's talk about, even before you decided to join Cyber Revolution, what were you doing? And what made you start thinking about a career change into cybersecurity?
Yes, no, of course. So I joined the ADF straight after high school, about 17, 18, did my 4 years in there. And then the plan was always to then move on to federal police, state police, or the border force, the Marine Tactical Unit. But I did also grow up with a big interest in IT, building my own gaming computers, and a bit of a tech nerd in that aspect. So then when I came across cybersecurity, it sort of felt like it was the same policing work in an IT environment, which just instantly felt like the perfect match. Yeah, I started looking more into cyber and came across Cyber Revolution as one of the training platforms.
Great. I guess you're still on defense, different type of battlefield, right? Now on
Yes.
We actually we get a lot of ex-ADF. We've actually just signed a partnership with Soldier on Australia as well. And what we find is that so many things that transition from what you learn within the Army and the Defence Force that translates and correlates into cybersecurity. There are obviously some other benefits as well in regards to security clearances, etc. So it's a really good, transition for people like yourself, which has proven the case for you too. What was it specifically about cybersecurity for you that interested you so much?
I think it was just the sort of nature of the work, nature of the business, the nature of the sort of cyber attacks you see pretty much on a weekly basis at the moment with some of the biggest companies in the world. So it was sort of just, it felt like it would have been a good environment to be able to sort of provide some sort of formal help or so forth into that industry. It's just something I was naturally interested in.
Yep. Did you find that, like what we find as well with a lot of ex-ADF, they had that still desire and want to serve and protect? Was that part of it for you as well?
It's probably not something I could pinpoint at the time, but it was definitely, like most people who are in the ADF, very proud to wear the uniform, very proud of their job. So being in cyber, it feels like we do contribute a lot on a day-to-day basis to our clients and the business that we're in.
Yeah, great, mate. Okay, and so you touched on it before, but tell us a little bit about your studying experience, because you didn't have any IT certifications or experience or cyber experience previously before starting with us. What was that like?
Yes, no. My role in the ADF wasn't from an IT background. So transitioning to sort of back to studying, especially in such a niche field, couldn't thank Cyber Revolution enough for the platform provided, especially with the online labs, not just the theoretical study, but you're able to get hands in, and everything you learn, you can then put it into a hands-on experience. That's sort of the way I prefer to learn. So it was definitely, you'd keep repeating it until you felt comfortable.
Yep. We're trying to mimic as much as possible in your practice labs. What you're going to experience in the real world is really important, because it gives you those practical skills, but it also gives you the confidence going into a new career that, hey, I've kind of done this before.
Yes.
Did you find that was the case with you? Were you a little bit nervous going into a new industry that had?
Yeah, definitely. You can only learn so much from a theoretical standpoint before the real world's just completely different. But there was certain labs where I felt like I know the basic concepts. I can build off this into my now day-to-day job.
Yeah, great. And speaking of your job, tell us a little bit about the role that you did land. And what you're doing.
Yes. So at the start of the year, I landed a role in a security operations center as a SOC analyst down in Canberra. And then I'm fortunate enough, I now am a security consultant specializing in GRC, governance, risk and compliance with NCC Group, working full-time for one of the biggest companies in the financial service industry.
Massive, mate. And so I know that your pathway into this industry was, I don't want to say harder than most, because you had a bunch of opportunities, but it was a little bit up and down. It was a bit inconsistent. We had some high points, and then we had some setbacks. Tell us a little bit about that, because that wasn't as straightforward as a lot of our students, do your training, get your certs, land a job. Yours was a little bit different.
Yes, I think probably since September, October last year, it was just a lot of opportunities came through, but last minute sort of business decisions or sort of business frameworks of directive that they were going in, just couldn't get the contract over the line, which was very unfortunate.
I remember that, man. It was like we had so many opportunities for you with huge, amazing companies. And we're like, great, awesome. Tim's got this opportunity. He's got 3 or 4 to choose from. And it was just at the 11th hour, someone would be like, oh, for whatever reason, this director's left the business. We need to then 3 months before we're hiring again. And we're like, that just seemed to keep happening to you.
I thought after once it wouldn't happen again, but by the third time I was like, all right, what's going on?
So
ready to give it all in.
That was really frustrating. So you finally did obviously get into the industry. As you said, you landed a role down in Canberra, and you've then relocated since?
Yes, so I'm currently based in Sydney at the moment. We do have the flexibility to work from home, but given the nice view from the Sydney office, I usually am a couple of days a week.
You're just down the road from Cyber Revolution. Actually, Tim and I caught up for a coffee last week, 2 weeks ago now. 200 meters from our office. So
That's awesome.
I'm actually catching up for coffee in an hour or so with Gil. Did you ever?
Oh yeah, yep. I reached out to Gil when he landed his position with CyberCX.
Yeah. CyberCX's office is literally 500 meters, down the road as well. And so I'm going to catch up with him. The shout out to him. He's just been promoted to a new role.
Oh, good on him. Still within CyberCX.
Yeah. Yep. After about a year or so in the industry, he's landed a new promotion. Might have to get him back on the podcast to have a chat about it. But anyway, back onto yourself. So now that you're in the industry, actually, before we talk a little bit more about that, I want to touch base on your training and your training experience, the training and support that you received from Cyber Revolution. You were going through some of those potential tough times where you were getting really, really close to getting your opportunity in the industry and then having a setback. Tell us a bit more about, that experience and the support you received.
Yes, no, of course. The support, definitely could not thank the, I guess, what's it called now? The student mentors, career pathway mentors.
Yep.
So at the time I had Reese, and I could not thank Reese enough. We were weekly meetings on a regular basis, keep me on track with my studies and what to do next. And then, when it came to the job hunt debacle at the end of last year, you and Reese were both just a phone call away after every time I needed a bit more support to stay in and look for another position. And so, that was much appreciated.
Yeah, we got there in the end, mate. And so now that you're in the industry, what are you most excited about?
Honestly, the career progression. There is, once you're in, like you hear everyone talk about, there's not enough people. But once you're in, that really opens your eyes up to, there really isn't enough people in this industry.
Yeah. And so you're finding that obviously within the space, you hear a lot about it. You hear a lot about it in the media. All these statistics come out. And every time we have a student come on and they land their first role in the industry, they say the same thing. They're like, wow, it is potentially even worse.
Yeah.
So career progression, why is that important to you?
I think it's always been a big thing, always to feel inspired from what I do, but also provide get the sort of feedback from management higher up and the high end sort of clients that, the consulting work that we provide is beneficial for them.
Yep.
So having a clear career pathway is definitely something I always sort of relied on. And that was sort of stems back from the army as well. You've got your set promotions and ranks and so forth. So it's nice to still sort of have that career pathway.
Yep.
Which is nice.
Yeah, that's, for me, I bang on about it a lot. That's the most exciting thing about the industry. You can go from an entry level to a mid level to an advanced level role pretty quickly, right? Which you just don't get.
Nowhere else.
Pretty sure. So many other people ahead of you, right? There's a law firm or accounting firm. You got to be there for 10 to 15 years before you get to that advanced level role. Whereas in cyber, it's more that sort of 5 to 7 years, which is the most exciting thing for me. And of that, obviously, of that career progression comes, more financial freedom in regards to the salaries that you can get as well. And you might actually have to catch up with Gil, take him out for a coffee and talk about how he did it, because he's, probably only about 6 or 8 months ahead of you in regards to his career in cyber. And he's a GRC consultant too, was a GRC consultant, and he's just now landed a role as a cybersecurity consultant there too. So I'll have to link you two guys up and have a chat about he did, because you're on a similar pathway to him.
Yes, no, for sure. Greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome, man. So career progression is important. I guess, what does that look like for you? Talk to me about what your potential pathway over the next 2 to 3 years looks like. Where do you want to be?
Yes, no, of course. The next 2 to 3 years, would definitely love to start pushing on the edge of that senior consultant pathway and then build from there into the management consulting and then principal consulting. Yeah, like to stay in the consulting sort of workspace.
Yep.
And definitely like to strive for, leading my own cyber tech one day, like my internal managers do now. Get along well with them, which would be awesome.
What do you enjoy about that? Because it's obviously, when we talk about a cyber consultant, it's a lot more client facing as opposed to behind the desk doing the technical work. You're out there building relationships, maintaining relationships with clients. What do you enjoy about it?
I think it's the day-to-day freedom of, we get the flexibility to work our own hours, do the work. If we want to duck out for a coffee, catch up with clients, do whatever during the day, no one's asking questions.
Yep.
As long as our hours are billed, our billable timeframes, we're meeting our targets and we're doing our work and the client's happy, we get a lot of freedom. Whereas on the technical aspect in the SOC that I was in, it was 12 hours on, 12 hours off, day shifts, night shifts. It was different sort of lifestyle. And that's something that I wasn't aware of at the time.
Yep.
When trying to decide between a technical and a consulting pathway.
Yep. That's really important to note, guys. For anyone listening who are students or aspiring cyber professionals, there are typically 2 pathways to get into this industry. You've got the technical pathway or the consulting pathway. And they're two very different roles.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. And we try and get our students to understand what they're best suited to before they apply for those roles. If you don't enjoy that real attention to detail, putting your head down, doing the work technically day to day, then you're not going to really enjoy that technical pathway and technical role. Some people love that though. I spoke to a couple of students not long ago, and they love the idea of just being able to work from home and just do a technical role, same thing day in, day out. And they love that consistency. Whereas for someone like yourself who likes meeting people, having a bit more flexibility and freedom, that consulting pathway and the client-facing pathway is definitely the one that we recommend. So you prefer that far over the technical side then?
Definitely. Been exposed now to the sort of client social events.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't turn that down.
Yeah, it's good fun. I think you're suited completely to that. And as I said, now you've got a real good plan to get to that principal consultant or lead your own team. And I don't think it's going to be too long till you get there, mate. So it's exciting. Now, I want to finish on your top 3 tips, like I do with all of our things that we get on, because everyone listening here does want to be where you are, right? And so what would be your 3 top tips for somebody listening now that's looking to get into cybersecurity?
Yes, no, good question. I think straight off the bat, the first one's going to have to be consistency. Consistency and self-discipline to get the study done, because there's definitely a lot of times where you just, oh, I don't feel like studying. And that could happen for a week. Before you know it, a month's gone past, and then you're in a tough time frame to get your exams and get all your certifications done. So that's definitely number one. Number two would be probably willingness to learn. Like there is a lot to take in, a lot to learn from a technical aspect all the way through to a consulting soft skills aspect. So definitely just be willing to absorb it all and take it in and just learn and take notes. And then number three, I would say different activities still within the workforce. So a big one would be try Hack Me. Use their platform as well to extend your skills and your awareness of different terminologies or different timeframes, different attack types. You've sort of just got to become all in cyber to really take it all in, because it is such a big field, such a big industry. Yep. And it's not just streamlined to one sort of attack. It's multiple attack vectors, and it's sort of something you just want a broad knowledge of everything so you feel comfortable.
Yep. Awesome, mate. So all of your three top tips are centered around learning, right? Which I love.
Yes.
Like it has to be, because if you're not learning new skills, especially in cyber, which is an industry that changes so quickly, you're not just staying still, you're going backwards, right? And you're not really be in this industry for all that long. So I guess the overarching tip there is continuously learn, right? With your studies, consistency is key. Even when you get into the industry, I speak to people who've been in the industry 20 years and they're still learning and doing certifications.
Yep. Oh, for sure.
That's awesome, mate. Really, really good tip. Thank you so much for taking the time out. As I said, I know you're busy and you've got a meeting coming up soon, mate. So I'm going to let you go.
No, thank you.
Really appreciate your time coming on and sharing your experience. It's been a long time in the making, and we're going to have to get you. We'll get you back on maybe in 6 months' time, and you can talk about
no, for sure.
That career progression that we're talking.
Glad we could finally get it done. And have to keep pushing it back. So apologies.
No, all good, Tim. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, subscribe. If you want to know a little bit more about the actual placement program that we do here and that Tim has successfully gone through, all you need to do is just head to cyberrevolution.com.au. You can leave your details there and someone from the team will be in touch. Thanks for listening. So if you've been sitting on the fence for a while, umming or ahhing, this could be the opportunity, the push you need to make the change you need to make. I'll be getting a booking link placed into the description of this episode. Book yourself in for a chat with one of the team members, and potentially you could be starting your journey in a new career in cybersecurity. Thanks for listening, everyone.